Hi, I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist, and I'm the host of Star Talk. And today I'm with Grant Imahara, who is a robotics engineer and animatronics expert, and perhaps best known for doing the heavy lifting, the heavy thinking, the heavy inventing for Discovery Channel's Mythbusters. So Grant, thanks for joining me for this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't look old enough to have the experience that this resume, 9 years, this 4 years, that.
I get that a lot. I moisturize.
That's what it is.
I was born in I'm 45.
Wait a minute. So are you yourself an animatronics thing that you sent?
There have been rumors that I am a life model decoy, but I assure you,
I don't
I
believe
am
you.
100% organic.
I think you cooked yourself up in the lab.
Yeah, this is the next generation of me.
So it's what a career that is. Oh my gosh. You know what I wonder? When I think of film, are they making robots anymore? Or was it just all CGI?
In the entertainment industry, there's still a place for robots, but in a live experience. So if you have a theme park, for example, you could have robotic characters going around and interacting with your guests. But as far as movie making, not so much.
So when you were with Industrial Light and Magic, what kind of projects were you on?
I worked in the model shop. So it was miniatures of spaceships and cities, and my specialty, being animatronics and electrical engineering, meant that I would do lighting on these things, and also robots.
Lighting it's got to be at least half of what makes it look real.
Oh yeah, because you had this beautiful model, and then it's like having a beautiful birthday cake, and the last thing is lighting the candles, which is what I did. Besides that, I also had the career in animatronics, and so there was R2-D2. I gave the Energizer Bunny.
Well, I thought there wasn't somebody in R2-D2?
There was.
So then what do we need you for?
Well, in the 70s,
okay,
robotics technology wasn't quite what it was when I worked on it.
And so you would have been born in the 70s.
That's right.
So they
1970.
They didn't have the benefit of your intellect and creativity.
And
so
the technology.
Let me help. Let me stoke you up here. So since you had not come of age,
yes,
they actually had to stick actors inside their robots.
It was easier. You didn't want to run over people's feet. They were constantly breaking down.
So you come along, and now what?
I took out all the radio control components, replaced them with modern equivalents. The lighting, there's special lighting effects in R2. That was with a motor and a color wheel that turned around. I got rid of all of that, replaced it with LEDs, a microcontroller, and highly reliable, very efficient.
So do you feel paternal with your robots?
I do. I've built many robots in my career, and even the ones that certainly R2 and the Energizer Bunny, they are characters with a personality.
You know, I don't want to know that anybody actually built the Energizer Bunny. I don't know why.
Many
I just want that to just be itself.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still around. It's still beating.
It would be funny if you had one just going by the set. You know.
I know. If I thought of it, I could have arranged it. But
okay, so not all of your robots do feel paternal about.
That's right. Well, even the ones that don't have a personality, I do feel paternal, like my BattleBot Deadblow. It was a hammer. Yeah.
Yes.
I competed in BattleBots.
BattleBots. I remember. I saw the early days of BattleBots.
That's right.
When my good friend Bill Nye was, I think he was a commentator.
He
interviewed
me.
Sports commentators, right?
Which is great to have a science hero as a sports commentator and an engineer as your athlete.
Right. So BattleBots, just remind people what that was. So people compete. They build a robot, and you have to destroy somebody else's robot, right?
That's right.
And they made television out of this.
Gladiator style in an enclosed arena.
So you can't like reverse your robot and have it escape.
There's no escape. There's no escape, and you get 5 minutes, and usually it's to the death. So, and if not, then it goes to the judges.
Now, I didn't keep track of who made what robot, but I do remember a particular robot that had one of these hammers that just kept doing this.
Yeah, that was my robot Deadblow.
It had a name, Deadblow.
Deadblow. There were two robots. One was a judge and one was Dead Blow. Dead Blow was the one that was really fast, and they called it a terrier in heat because it would just be pecking away at its opponents.
I don't know terriers in heat, so you have to know that.
Aggressive,
to know that that's, okay.
Aggressive robot. If it had a personality. But,
so did it win?
Oh yeah, it was a winning robot.
Did it win?
It did not win the entire competition.
So it lost.
It lost occasionally. I have a winning record, and more importantly...
Wait, if you can't build a robot that wins BattleBots, should I be hiring the person who did?
I don't know.
What's that person doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is it? Can we swap them out?
I don't know if you want to... He would be considered a robotics expert.
Okay.
Is the thing, so...
Well, congratulations for winning often.
I did. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So now, coming forward, all the robots are most certainly are in CGI.
Yeah.
But now there's all this talk about robots joining our lives.
Oh yeah.
As a real life experience, for better or for worse.
Right.
Now, there are people afraid of AI, that it might take over the world. And since people like you are walking around who created BattleBots,
yeah.
I'd be worried knowing that you exist in the same world as AI. So please put my concerns at ease.
Oh, I see. Yes. Robots, I grew up with robots. I work with robots, I live with robots. They're all around us.
Well, let me geek out with you for a second. There's a scene in, what's that movie? Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Where they visit one of the people who specializes in...
That's right. They're my friends.
They're my friends.
I made them. They're my friends.
Got the accent and everything.
Yes.
They're my friend. Yeah, and so the whole apartment is where you'd otherwise have stuffed animals sitting there doing nothing. Everything there is an animatronic thing.
Almost, but not entirely like my actual life.
Okay. What does your home look like?
It is a regular home. Actually,
I doubt that.
The
Just
robots...
You're lying. You are lying.
The robots are at my shop.
Right.
And so it's my little space where I've got all my machine tools and laser cutter, 3D printer.
So at what point do you build a robot that does what you want it to do versus build a robot that does what it wants to do?
Yeah, that's the question. And I think,
That's why I asked it.
Right. Because when people say,
question.
I'm afraid of AI.
By the way, personally, I'm not afraid. I'm asking the question for others.
Sure. I have to say, this might be where we disagree.
No.
Because I'm a little... When we talk about AI, when I talk about AI, it's genuine abstract thought. And that does scare me. Now, when people are afraid of AI, it's because they link that to killer robots and Terminator and then everything else. No. I'm the Miles Dyson in this scenario. No. I'm the one who is there to save the human race. But...
All the nemesis say that. It's for the greater good. I'm doing this for your own good.
Nobody knows better how to take apart a robot than somebody who builds them.
Okay, good.
So, believe me, I'm on the side of the humans.
But no one knows better how to shoot a robot than someone who didn't make it.
Yeah. They have more motivation.
This is America, Jack. Robot gets out of line. We're going to have some shot robots.
Look,
all right.
I think we've got a long way to go before we get to that point.
Aren't you putting into motion a moving target with regard to AI? If 10 years ago you showed someone Siri on an Apple iPhone, wouldn't that have counted as amazing, mind-blowing AI
Absolutely.
in the day?
Absolutely.
Siri will tell you how to get to your grandma's house the quickest way.
Yes.
All right, now today you're going to say, well, that's not actual abstract thought. 10 years ago, it would have blown your mind.
Right.
Okay, so aren't you moving the target as time goes on? I
think you certainly are. As you start to have these experiences with different innovations, it's the thing where any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. So yeah, it's just that the trick keeps getting...
Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah. It's just that the trick keeps getting better and better and better. But it's that Siri can tell you how to get to your mom's house.
Better than you can.
Better than you can. but you have to ask Siri to give you the directions. Siri's not going to say, Neil, I think you should see your mom. Isn't it about time
But
you see your mom?
aren't there computers today? This is 2016. Computers today who will read your schedule,
It's true.
know what's coming up, say you should leave about now. The traffic is building on the west side.
True.
And by the way, the last time you visited your mother was. So you better bring flowers this time. We have the capacity to do that.
Yeah, but still, in my opinion, that's a trick. It's a cheat. It's polling your schedule for these various events, given that programming.
So what you want is the computer to say, "You're on your own today. I'm going to the movies."
Yeah, that's a thing I don't want, because when the computer says, "I'm not listening to you, I'm going to the movies, and I've made this decision on my own," that's when I start to get scared.
It has achieved consciousness.
And that, however, I think we're a little ways off from.
How, little ways, 1 year, 10 years, 50 years?
More than 10.
More than 10.
More than 10, I think.
Okay.
50, maybe. It's hard to say.
You build these things. If it's hard for you to say, what hope do the rest of us have to estimate?
I build the robots,
Uh-huh.
which would be if the AI somehow got into a robot, then we would have issues. But the software is not something that I particularly specialize in.
Okay, so let me pick up on that. I have a slightly different view of the future of AI than possibly most people.
Okay.
I don't fear it in the least. Everyone's notion of a robot is something that looks humanoid. And the human form is not the best form to get tasks done.
Absolutely.
We know this. We figured this out over the years. And so why build anything that looks human? Build something that's best designed for its task, as any engineer knows.
Absolutely.
Okay, so going forward, we will have needs that emerge. You build a robot for that need. Why do I need a robot to be able to do everything? That's going to be the least efficient robot out there.
And you know, when people are afraid of robots taking our jobs, we shouldn't worry about that.
What?
Because even the best robot is still much more expensive than a human. I mean, you know, I look at this from an economic perspective.
Plus, you can fire a human and have no other financial commitments to them. But if you fire a robot, you had to put all that money in the robot in the first place, so it's dead money.
It's
at that point.
dead money. A human is versatile. The learning curve is not that high. And people know how to interact with humans. They know how to manage humans. And so it makes better sense to have a human workforce.
That's very wishful thinking of you. So of all of your jobs, again, this might be having you pick your favorite child, but of all of your jobs, what was your favorite gig? Because right now, you're on the set of Star Trek? Tell me about this.
Yeah.
I know it has nothing to do with robots, but I got to know about this.
That's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
That's my hobby.
Your hobby is acting
Yeah.
on the set of Star Trek.
Star Trek Continues. It's a web series.
And it's from what I understood of it, it's a recreation to exquisite detail, the very set that the original Star Trek was filmed on.
The sets, the costumes, the camera angles, the lighting, the sound.
And even the
everything.
acting.
The acting, and most importantly, the scripts.
Okay.
Because that's the single hardest thing about making this series, is finding good scripts that are in the tone of what
How they were written in 1967.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
Because right now, this is 2016, this is the 50th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
So this would be what Star Trek would have been had it continued.
That's right.
Because it only went 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
We forget this.
We didn't get to the end of the 5-year mission. So
To boldly go. Did you fix the split infinitive there? Is it to go boldly or?
no, it's still to boldly go.
To boldly
because
go.
we have to pay homage to the source materials. But it's a blast. It really is.
Often today, when we think of institutions that are leading academic centers of robotics, we think of Carnegie Mellon.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand you have some relationship with them. What is that?
Yeah, so Mauser Electronics, which is a company that I have a relationship with, I'm the spokesman.
Mauser
Yes.
Electronics, okay.
Yes. Major electronics distributor. And so they've sent me all over the country to talk to leading engineers and scientists. And one of the segments was about robotics. So I went to Carnegie Mellon. I got to see scientists who were using drones to, say, map a room. So they would launch several small drones, and the drones would create a 3D picture of their space.
In the movie Prometheus, they had something similar to that. They released these flying things that went into the cave, and they mapped the cave with laser altimetry or something. And they went and they came back, and boom, there you had the whole cave right there.
That's it. And in sci-fi, that's a really popular trope, just to send out a probe that gives you all the information.
I'm loving it.
But they're working on that.
Okay.
There was a lab where they were working on inflatable robotics, like Big Hero 6, Baymax. So it was great. It was really cool to see a lot of these technologies.
So what does your company do? What's their product at the end?
Mauser, they are an electronics distributor. So any electronic part you might need, if you are an engineer designing a product, they would contact Mauser during the design phase, and then later on when they manufacture, source all the parts.
So if you need something that's not on the shelf that you have to build because you're a clever engineer, they'll have the pieces for you.
Yes.
Okay.
And so part of the series, and they chose me as a celebrity engineer to take people to different parts of science and technology and show them all these cool things.
So what's the future of drones? What's the future of robotics?
Flying drones for deliveries, things like that, getting more vehicles off the road, I think is exciting. Being able to explore space, other planets with robots, that's incredibly exciting.
But I'd rather do that with people.
Yeah. Well,
would it be more exciting to put a person there?
Here's what you do.
What?
You send the robot out first.
Good.
Because you don't know.
Do you have fears of robots that are not otherwise AI in the future? That we might depend heavily on a robotic programming or conduct, and then people die because the robot failed. Let's say we all go to self-driving cars.
Okay.
And 1,000 people die a year on the roads, rather than 30,000. A programmed car killed them. So what's the liability there? No one is saying, oh my gosh, 29,000 people are alive today because of this technology. In America, that's not how we're going to respond. We're going to say, there's something wrong with that technology, it killed my loved one. Let us sue the company who programmed it, or the programmer. So how do you deal with the fact that it's actually saving lives, even if every now and then it messes up?
Here in America, we're always looking for the blame, where to put the blame, without looking at that greater good. Unfortunately, I think that's a likely scenario. And one that these companies, be they Google or some other entity who are working on the driverless vehicles, will have to plan for. I think it'll be a long process to accepting it. The technology will be available before the people are ready. And that's one of the biggest problems. I mean, with robots, you have actuators, processing power. One of the biggest ones is battery power, but the biggest thing overall is people accepting them. And it's whether it's a driverless car or a drone delivering your Amazon packages, or some robot that looks like a person but not quite enough like a person, and you look at them and you think immediately, that's creepy. So it's the acceptance.
I don't want creepy robots.
No, nobody does.
The funny thing is,
very little you can do about that.
They're full up 100% humans who are themselves creepy. So if you've got a robot that's kind of almost sort of looks human.
And still, that's creepier than the creepiest human.
That's right, it is.
Which is.
Were you mentored as a kid?
No. When I was a kid, if I wanted to make a robot, I would use cardboard and Lego. And those two things, as you know, probably don't go together very well. So there was a lot of tape. There were no kits. There was no internet. I couldn't look at a video.
When I was a kid,
I'm telling you. Kids these days, Neil, kids these days. They have the internet, there are kits. There is a national competition for robotics that kids in high school, it's called FIRST Robotics, kids in high school
Is that an
can do
acronym?
this. Yes, it's for inspiration and recognition of science and technology.
Okay.
And so that's how I got involved as a mentor to young people. They bring in people who are industry professionals. And so I mentored a school in Richmond, California, which is in a really tough area. And for me, every mentor has a different style. My attitude was to do as little work as possible. And by that, I mean to make the students do as much work as possible.
You lazy son of a...
And, but, because they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Here's how. I'm going to show you once, and then you're going to do it, and you're going to show your friends. Yeah. It's enabling them to go beyond what they think that they can do. And so that's my take on being a mentor.
Now, here's what I wonder.
Yes.
No mentors in your day, so you started inventing the first generations of robots.
Right.
What today would a creative engineer mind in a child be coming up with that's not even robots?
Oh, wow.
For whom there are no mentors, because they're about to invent a whole new branch of engineering trajectories.
Right.
What does not exist today that we could look forward to coming in the decades?
The interesting thing with me and robots was that when I was a kid, I looked to the things that I saw, like science fiction. And in Star Wars, the robot, R2-D2, was a friend. And I was like, that's cool. That's something I want to create. That's something that I want to make a reality.
So we need to keep science fiction as fertile a means of storytelling as there is in this world.
Absolutely. And if you look at where a lot of these things that we have now, the iPad, the flip phone, these things originated in science fiction. They were something that someone was inspired to do. So if we keep dreaming and allowing these kids to have these dreams and have these experiences, someday they will be able to create them in reality.
Reality imitating art.
Thanks for having me.
I'm still not forgiving you for the Energizer Bunny. Okay? None of us could get that out of our heads, right?